So hey everybody, welcome back. This is Josh Cantwell, CEO at strategicrealestatecoach.com and Freeland Ventures, real estate private equity. Welcome back to the Strategic Real Estate Coach podcast, an interview series. I look forward to sharing some amazing information with you today. And I've invited a good friend of mine and a guest onto the line, a guy that I've known for just a couple years, and was introduced to him by some other really phenomenal real estate operators. His name is Joe Evangelisti, and he is from the Philadelphia market and is just a flipping assassin. He's known as the Flip King, theflipking.com, and Joe is really one of those ultimate real estate success stories. Started investing in real estate and doing fix and flips, doing wholesaling, doing turnkey rentals, and is really focused now on being outside of his business and above his business. Works about 5 or 10 hours a week in his company. That's it. Focuses most of his time as basically an advisor, a strategic advisor to his own companies. And so what I want to talk about today with Joe is his kind of journey, starting out as a new investor, moving to intermediate, moving to advanced, and then ultimately popping himself out the top of his company, and the importance of spending time with other amazing real estate operators. I'll give you a chance to even spend time with Joe and what he calls the Syndicate, and really just getting his insights on, leading, what it takes to be a leading entrepreneur, what it takes to be an elite performer. So Joe, welcome to the podcast and interview series, my friend. What's going on today? How are you?
What's up, Josh? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate the invite to be on, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your fans and your followers.
You bet. So you told me you were just spending some time with your wholesale team. Tell me what you were just up to. What did I pull you away from?
Yeah, Monday mornings actually is our time to do. Monday morning's my time with my team, right? So once a week we do what's called an L10 meeting. That's our time for the entire team to get together. We start out the morning with an hour-and-a-half session, which is generally our issue-solving track, right? That's when we get together. We put together our high-level problems and we solve them. And it's also my time to do some training for them. I kind of went a little bit overboard today with the wholesale team and dug a little bit deeper to try to solve some issues. We're in the process of trading platforms on the back end with our CRM and stuff like that. So we had a couple deeper issues than we generally do. But yeah, Monday mornings is really when we focus on getting the team energized for the week and solve our issues and get everybody off and running for the week. So that's generally, and you're going to find me in the office on Monday mornings, getting everybody cranking.
Gotcha. And so you're at the office Monday mornings getting your team cranking, and then what does the rest of your week look like? I know you've done over 1,000 deals. You flip over $10 million in real estate every year. And your team is very busy, both on the flip side, the wholesale side. But what do you find yourself doing the rest of the week?
I find myself just setting appointments, right? Trying to find myself occupied and trying to find high level, situations like this, right? Talking to guys like you, trying to find myself, in front of people that are going to force myself to think bigger, to keep myself outside the box, right? Because if you stay in the office, you stay in the grind, and you stay doing the things that you've always done, then you're just going to stay in that mode. So I'm looking to constantly try to set appointments with things that are going to keep me creative, things that are going to keep me thinking next level, things that are going to help me think bigger, trying to put together bigger deals and things like that. Or I'm traveling, or I'm spending time with my kids, or whatever I have to do to keep myself out of the office, so I'm not just on the day-to-day. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Now I know you have a passion through your mastermind that you run, your training, your high-level training that you run, the Syndicate. I know you have a passion for helping operators become owners. And this is something that, when you get to Joe's level, you get to my level, it's partially about giving back, but it's partially about, kind of being a coach and really enjoying seeing other people level up their game. So tell us about that passion of yours and helping these operators become owners. And what do you define as an operator, and what are some of the challenges that those guys have? And then what do you define as an owner, and what is that like to get somebody to move to that level?
Yeah, Josh, much like I think a lot of things is you learn from doing, and then you figure out the challenges that go from the process, and then you look back and you say, well, if I did it this way, maybe it would have been a little bit more effective, a little bit more efficient, right? I think what a lot of folks are struggling with in business is you hear this term owner operator, right? And then you wonder why you never have enough time in the day. You wonder why you can never get anything done. You wonder why you're never effective. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges is it's really difficult to be an owner and an operator, right? And so we start to try to separate those two things, and we have a visionary and an implementer, and we separate those two things into two different roles, to where the owner can be the visionary, which has its own set of unique abilities, unique requirements, and unique skill sets. And then there's the implementer. That's the person that runs the business, the day-to-day, and helps the employees have the guidance and have the accountability and keeps them on track and kind of, runs the ship. That's the operator, right? So you have to really, in my opinion, you have to split those things in half. Otherwise, you're never going to find yourself being able to have enough freedom to where you can go do other things, start other companies, have the freedom to travel, have the freedom to go experience, whatever it is you want to do, whether that is create more and get bigger, or maybe it's just to just go, live the life the way you want to, So, we try to separate those two entities into two distinct roles, and that's a mindset that's really, really difficult for a lot of people to kind of grasp and to tackle and to live with, So that's the mindset we're trying to help people overcome.
Yeah. So I love the idea. So I want to kind of hunker down on this because I think every entrepreneur has this epiphany, this time when they're growing a company for so long and they're still wearing both hats. So let's take a look back at your journey. Give us a little bit of color, some foundation about your journey, but specifically at that time when you were the owner operator, and what was it like to break through? What kind of mindset shifts did you have that you now coach people on? What were some things that you had to change in your own business, your own life, your own habits, your own routines to make that a reality?
Yeah. So, a lot of it, I think, bases off of ego, right? I think a lot of us can admit that, so when we start our own company, it's our baby, right? It's our foundation. It's our thing. It's what we're good at. It's what we're proud of being. And, it's hard enough sometimes just to hire an employee, and give them any responsibility whatsoever, to give them, to let them take on any challenges, any little minute delegation of anything, right? Right. So that's one start, So sometimes you get entrepreneurs that you're just like, God, hire anybody, hire a marketing assistant, hire anything, and then they start to grow a team, and now maybe they have 4 or 5 or 6 employees, depending on what type of industry you're in. If it's real estate, sometimes it could be super simple. If it's a wholesale team, it could be 2 or 3 people before you can walk away, right? But let's just assume it's a real estate team, and you can get 4 or 5 people. Well, now it's like, okay, now we have systems and processes and everything's implemented. There's money coming in, and now it's time where you can hire a high level operator and you can actually walk away. That's a whole nother level of challenges, and that's what I call letting go of the vine, right? Because now you have to actually trust not only somebody to do an employee's role or a certain process. Now you have to trust the responsibility of someone to take your position and a leadership role and actually walk away from it day to day and assume that someone's going to take a high level challenges over and make high level decisions for you. That's a whole nother level of ego that a lot of us, it comes down to working on ourselves more than it comes down to anything else. It's not a trust issue. It's a deep-seated ego issue a lot of times, where can you handle that? And then there's all kinds of different processes that we put into place to make sure that things are done properly, and reporting and all that type of thing. And that's where the L10 meeting that I did this morning comes from, right? When you can trust that the numbers are going to be reported to you properly, and you can trust that certain things are going to come and happen on time and every time, and you can trust that on Monday those things are going to come back to you. You start to be able to let go a little bit and start to breathe a little bit, because hey, you know what? No matter what, I'm going to learn on Monday what happened. You start to let people have that responsibility. And then what you start to find is when you hire the right people, what we call A players really take it to a whole nother level. Sometimes they do it better than you would have done it. And then they really start to amaze you. And then you start to grow an amazing team. And, there's all kinds of steps that happen after that. But that's when the release of stress starts to really happen. And you can start to see, the progress of basically 10xing what your results could have been had you not built that thing and allowed it to grow without you. So it's an amazing adventure, man. It's really a lot of fun, but a lot of times you just can't get past that first step because, again, we're in love with that, that baby we created from step one,
Right, you bet. So the guys that you've coached and worked with to implement this L10 meeting in their own business and go from owner-operator to just owner, the guys that have had success, there may be 2 or 3 characteristics that you see that those guys, they use, they continue to implement to kind of stay and keep pushing at that owner level, let somebody else fill in. And then conversely, are there maybe a couple characteristics of the guys that fail at that can't let go and their businesses don't grow anymore because they're kind of they knowingly or unknowingly, they stay in that owner operator, they continue to wear both hats. So what are the couple characteristics of the guys that do it right and the couple characteristics of the guys that maybe can't get out of their own way?
Yeah. So I think the characteristics of the people that do it right, number one, they're coachable. They're willing to take action, and they're willing to listen. Just like anybody with a mentor. I mean, I'm sure, Josh, you've got plenty of mentors, and just like myself. I mean, when I first hired my couple first mentors, they would tell you something, and then it would take you months to finally have the guts to just go ahead and take action on what they told you. And as time goes on, now my mentor tells me to jump off a bridge. I'm looking for the closest bridge. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. I think that when you're coachable and then you trust the process, the quicker you do whatever you're being asked to do or directed to do, that's the right thing to do. So being coachable is a big piece of it. And then of course, you don't take the advice of just anybody. You hire someone that's had that process dialed in. Number 2 is just, a lot of the skills that most entrepreneurs need, right, is you have to have the guts to take the risk. If you're built to be an entrepreneur, you're built to be an entrepreneur. If you're not, then that's totally cool. Go get a high-paying job and stay there and be comfortable and be happy with that. But, this is not for the meek. This is not for, people who are not comfortable taking risks. And, to be successful, to grow a team, to build a team, to walk away from a team, to go build another team, to keep doing that. Look, you're going to get slapped in the face. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to have to stand back up, and it's never going to stop. I don't care how successful you are, and that's a lesson in life that you just have to learn. Like there's no level of comfort that you're ever going to have, no matter how much success you have. You have to continue to know how to fall down and stand back up again. So you need those people that are resilient and used to being able to take that punch and be able to get back up, right?
Right.
Those type of people. So, the ones that take the first step off the edge and then they get punched real quick and then they're like, whoa, I'm going back to doing what I did before.
Right.
Then you're never gonna see freedom, right? And those are the type of people that, frankly, you should go get a good job, because being entrepreneurs are probably not a good thing for you to begin with. Those are the type of things that are really important to somebody that wants to go out and become a real true owner of a company. And then you ask what's tough about being able to make that transition. If you're really married to your company, I would say if you start a company and you're not the type of person that can start a company with the idea that you're going to sell that company one day, like if that idea just completely, evades you, like it's not even something that you can think about, then don't think about stepping away as the owner and doing it again, because there are those of us that are thinking about it as a company is an asset, and I'm going to start multiple of them, and I'm going to do this multiple times over and over again. I think sometimes, again, when we're young and we start a company, one of my first companies was called Addison Quinn Development. My daughters are Addison and Quinn. We make this, I don't want to say it's a mistake. We all do it. It's naturally. We just think it's our baby, and we're going to put our family name on it, and it's going to last forever. And I look back now and I'm like, man, if somebody offered me $1 million for that thing, I'd sell that name tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Sell my kids off.
It's natural, right? It's
right.
Part of business. Now I name companies off of street signs. Like I don't care, because
Right.
I know that I'm building an asset. I don't care about the name of the asset. I'm building a process, a system, and something that's replicatable that I can sell. That's more of what a company is, not necessarily, something that's my ego anymore. And that just comes from maturity, right? So if you're building a company and it's something that's so close to you that you're not willing to part with it, well, then maybe you're not that person that wants to transition into ownership either. So, that if that helps a little bit.
Yeah, you bet. I interviewed Kevin O'Leary just in this conversation with you. It just brings me back. I interviewed Kevin O'Leary for this podcast a couple of years ago, and he said, look, even when you're successful in business and you've worked hard and you've started to kind of graduate out into that, owner hat, owner position at the table, if you will, and you don't have to be there all the time. There's still always something that's burning in the business. Even when you have all the systems and procedures and lots of A players, there's still always something that's burning. And even if there's something that's not burning that day, it could just be the company needs more customers. It needs another strategic relationship. It needs another affiliate. It needs more capital. Those are all those really high-level, big-picture things that owner should be doing. Is going and finding that next relationship, going and finding more money from the bank, tightening up the process if you see a glaring weakness. There is plenty of things to do as the owner, even when you're not the operator. Looking 100%. for blindness in a business that nobody else sees. That's really your job. So Joe, when you think about building the team, right? You mentioned systems, procedures, being able to let go, but the people, right? The people, it's all about, that's what businesses are all about, is the people. I say at my events, the business of business is people. You've got to be able to build a business and build it on the backs of software technology, using software as a weapon, but using people as a weapon. So when you're interviewing people, building teams, are there any kind of hacks or special things that you look for in your team and culture, or in a specific person that you're going to hire? Are there any maybe personality profiles or tests that you give them? What are some different techniques you've used to build an amazing team?
Yeah, definitely a few things. Number one, remind me to go back to that Kevin O'Leary thing. I got something to talk about, the visionary piece. When we're hiring, there's a couple things that we do in-house. Number one, we give everybody a Colby test after the second interview. If we're going to put them into the team, I want to see how they're going to associate with other people and how they're going to work. Number two, we hire on culture. So they have to fit our cultural profile. So we have our core values within our office, and we hire on core values, we review on core values, and we'll fire on core values. So on our quarterly review, we actually rate people on the core values within the company, and if they don't fit our core values and our culture, that they're not a team fit, they go. And the best way I can explain core values is the people in my company are people I want to hang out with. These are like friends of mine. These are people that I would invite to my house to watch the game on Sunday. Yeah. And you have to start out and understand when your company, even though I just got done talking about how your company is really, shouldn't be your baby and you should want to sell it one day and all those kind of things, that you still have to, at the beginning stages, you have to want to work with these people and you have to enjoy being around these people. And they have to be your team. You have to like them. So you have to, if you're sitting across the table interviewing someone and for whatever gut reason, you're like, man, I don't know, Josh just rubs me the wrong way. Man, I don't care how qualified he is, you better not be making him an offer, because you're going to spend a lot of time with that person. And if they're rubbing you the wrong way at that table, then they're going to rub you the wrong way 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Another thing we do is we set expectations up front. We hire on a 90-day probationary period, and we set 30, 60, and 90-day goals, and we track them. So every 30, 60, and 90, we do a review, and we sit down, we say, Josh, 30 days has passed. This is what you've accomplished. This is what you haven't accomplished. What do you think so far? And let's set up another 30-day review and see where we stand in 30 days. In that 90-day window, it's an open door policy. You have the right to walk away at any time, no questions asked, and we have the right to fire you, no questions asked. And then at the end of 90 days, if we like you and you like us and you want to keep going, we'll actually offer the candidate a $2,500 check to leave, to quit at that time. So it's basically like, take $2,500, no harm, no foul, get out of our our office, and it's a bonus for quitting at that point. Or we rip the check up and you're part of the team, and congratulations, you get a hat and come on in the office and you're part of the team now, you're full time. We do that as an incentive because truthfully, it's the best money I could ever spend. Luckily, no one's ever taken the check, but I hope they do one day because, that right there, people don't realize you could spend up to 2 years or more in salary on a bad cultural fit for an employee. I've done it multiple times. I've lost millions of dollars on employees in the last 10 years from people that just sat down and sucked time and sucked money and lost all kinds of stuff, from sitting at a desk and creating bad habits and all kinds of stuff that, I'm going to get into. But I've made a lot of bad hires, put it to you that way. So, we're learning from experience in the office. But I've made some amazing hires, and that's why we have the team we have today. So, those are a couple examples of how we hire. We take it pretty seriously around here. Yeah, for sure.
Joe mentioned the Colby Profile. So I've been a huge fan of the Colby Profile going back all the way to 2004. It's the first time I was introduced to the Colby Profile. For those of you that don't know, the Colby, KOLBE.com is it's a test that you take, but it's not a personality test. It's not an IQ test. It's 36 questions that somebody takes, and it measures their instincts. It measures how somebody is going to attack a project naturally. So like if Joe was given this test and I was given this test and 10 other people were given this test, there's kind of 4 buckets that somebody falls in. And it's really important. I'm a firm believer in Colby as well. Really important to understand, is somebody going to make decisions based off of the past? Are they a fact finder? Somebody going to make a decision based off of a system, right? Are they a systematic person, which is in Colby is high blue? Are they somebody that's a quick start, which a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of visionaries are quick starts. They come up with a lot of ideas. They cast visions. That's the green category. And then finally it's the yellow implementer category, which is often people who are good artists, musicians, people good with their hands, people who like to do things on their own. And you got to know who you're dealing with. Like I know my brother Mark, who's one of my business partners, is high yellow. And Mark likes to do a lot of things on his own, likes to be sort of a solopreneur, likes to operate within just his own bucket by himself. Got to understand that guy, because if you don't, and you think you're hiring like a high green or a high red, and you hire that high yellow, that guy's not interested. My brother's not interested in coming to team meetings and playing in the same sandbox as everybody else. He's a hands-on dude. He's really good at art, good at music. He's good on a construction job, but he's not going to be great at playing a team game. So you got to know who you're hiring and where they fit. And the Colby Profile is an amazing tool. It's an amazing weapon for a business owner to use to hire the right people. Joe, along that same category, along the same lines, is there anything you do on a quarterly basis or maybe an annual basis just to have fun with your team? Do you take them out for drinks? Do you do fun, goofy stuff at the office? Is there anything you guys do to build culture?
Yeah, 100%. In fact, we just Thursday or Friday, we just took a team out go-kart racing, which was actually had a lot of fun, nice. A lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. We try to. One of our core values is have fun. So we do our best to have fun. We've taken them out sailboating. We've taken them out bowling. We've taken them out. We do happy hour constantly. So we're trying to do a lot more things. I'm constantly trying to train on a personal level, so that it's like self-development and stuff like that. So I have a financial coach coming in next week. We're always trying to think a little bit outside the box from your typical. I don't want to become corporate America. I don't care how big we get, even though I don't think we'll ever get much bigger than 25 or so. I'd like to make sure that we're always trying to to create some sort of outside the box thinking as far as creating a resource for our team, and not just a place where they come in and they have to grind for work and then they go home and it's a 9 to 5. I like to make it that it's that they're making themselves better humans while they're here. That's the whole idea as part of it. But yeah, man, you got to have fun. We're always looking for ways to have fun.
Nice. So Joe, I probably should have done this at the beginning. And we kind of skipped over it because we got into this, high level entrepreneur stuff, which is really my favorite topic, and raising capital is the other one. But give our audience just a little bit of an idea of what your business looks like today. You've done over 1,000 flips. You do over 10 million a year. Give me an idea of what's your main strategy for making money, and what does your team look like?
Yeah, so there's about 20, I think there's about 20 of us in-house now. We have a bunch of people virtually. And that's the real estate company. We're primarily a rehab business. We're focused a lot heavier on the wholesale end right now. If you asked me 2 years ago, we were super rehab focused. We're cutting way back on that right now.
Yeah.
That's just because I see a market trend shifting, and I don't want to be caught with a shit ton of inventory. I'm sorry if I can't curse in here.
Yeah.
A ton of inventory.
Hey, let me tell you about
that out.
Yeah, no, my grandma always told me when I was growing up that shit, damn, and hell weren't swear words.
Okay,
So
good.
those are totally cool for this podcast. You bet.
All right.
Grandma said so.
You'll have the little explicit thing on iTunes.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, about maybe a year ago, we probably had 30 to 40 at a time going at any given time. I think right now we have 18 or 20 going right now, but we'll cut that back cut that way down. So rehab's up there. We have wholesale going. We have a retail sales division. We own a Remax, so we have a retail sales team as well. And then we have our buy and hold team. So we have quite a few single families in inventory. We're constantly doing make readies and, turning over single family rental properties. And the big push right now is big commercial development. So I have a couple self-storage facilities and things like that are in process, due diligence and, preliminary phase for build out. And then we're looking for multifamilies, all over the East Coast right now. A couple in due diligence, and we're getting close on a few. We really just started to tune that division in the last couple months. So
Nice.
I'm excited about where that's going to head. And then of course I have a bunch of other companies, but that's the real estate side. I have a media company as well, and we do some private lending and things like that. So
Nice.
Yeah, so it's exciting stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Joe, as we kind of round third base and head for home, we started this conversation really talking about your passion for helping operators become owners. And you run a mastermind, you run an organization, a coaching called the Syndicate, and you work with business owners and operators to help them kind of level up to that owner area. So just talk a little bit more about what that is. If somebody wanted to ping you and learn more about that and how they can participate in that and get some help from you to level up their from an operator to an owner, describe that for us, and how can they ping you on that?
Yeah, for sure. So actually with the Syndicate, so I've been running real estate roundtables for about 2.5 years now for high-level business owners in the real estate space. And what we've realized in the last 2.5 years is that most of what we cover in these events is all business owner stuff. We go in there, we start to talk about real estate, but we're covering business owner industry stuff. Hiring and processes and team building and all this other stuff. So actually, the Syndicate is the first event is going to be February 27th and 28th. Nice. And what I really want to do is focus on bringing it to outside industries. So in the last year, we've had a handful of outside industries come into the roundtable. And the best thing about it was they brought in such a great perspective into that room that we decided to do an event focused on outside industries. So that's where the Syndicate was born. So the room in West Palm is going to be 12 high-level business. They don't have to be owners, business executives of any level that are bringing strong resources, strong values. Folks that are looking to grow their business, grow their teams, and really looking for ways to create more time, create more freedom, maybe expand their teams. And everything we just talked about on this call. But that's going to be the 27th and 28th in West Palm. And if they want to reach me, they can find me on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram, and I'm sure you'll put the contact info in the in the show notes. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, check that out. If you're going to be involved in a group to really get to that level, obviously Joe's your guy and can take you there. He's done it for many, many, many other people. Joe, so just a couple final questions. So what does the future look like for you? You're obviously have a lot of experience in construction, selling lots of houses, retail with your team, building teams. In the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, what are those kind of big, massive goals, the big reasons why you're trying to build your business, but where do you see the market going for yourself? And what are you going to, 10 years from now, if we're looking back at this interview, where do you want to be?
Yeah, Josh, I'm a huge believer that we make our own market, which I'm sure you're probably in agreement with that. So
for sure,
as long as you buy right, there is no market. In fact, I think that when the market goes down, we're gonna really do well. In the next 5 to 10 years, I can see us 10,000 doors or more. I really want to see us pick up some great deals. I think when the market shifts, that's going to help a lot. We have huge access to capital, which I'm sure you do as well, which is awesome. Some of my high-level goals that I write every morning is I want to be partners and JV partners with some of the best people, best operators in the nation. That's my goal. So, making these contacts and talking to the people we've been talking to and, finding these awesome world-class operators all over the country that have access to deals and have access to, on boots on the ground folks that can find these deals. I want to have access to those guys and help them with the working capital, help them put the deal together, help them facilitate those things. Those are my goals in the next couple of years.
Nice.
Is to help build those teams. We talk about legacy building. That's really something that's true to my heart. That's not about the money. It's not about it's not about being famous. It's about somebody's grandkids 100 years from now that have no idea who I am, are doing something awesome for people that they learn from, somebody that I taught something to. And it doesn't have to have my name on it. It's just being able to put that knowledge out there and help people grow amazing stuff and not getting the credit for it. That's the cool part about building legacy and helping other people build wealth and build legacy, is that it's going to last for, hopefully thousands of years. So that's what we put out there. Nice.
And Joe, last but not least, you've obviously learned a lot, been an entrepreneur for a long time, built lots of different companies, been around some amazing people. We have a lot of friends in common. If you look back, going back, we talked about looking forward 10 years and looking back to today. I wanted to ask you, what would be the number one piece of advice that you would give your younger former self? It could be in business, could be in your relationships, business relationships, personal relationships, as a father, could be anything, inside real estate, outside, whatever. But is there one piece of advice that you'd say, Joe, younger Joe, I wish you had done this, or looking back at all the things we've done, why didn't we try this instead? So is there anything you'd give back? Because, a lot of people that will listen to this will be kind of the younger former Joe, looking to kind of be, in the near future where you're at today.
Yeah, you know what, man, I don't have a ton of regrets, but, I do look back and it's funny because I think technology has made things just absolutely out of control nowadays. And, I'm only 38, which I feel old, but I'm not that old. And, there's these 22-year-old, 21-year-old guys that are just killing it in the game because technology is insane. I think I would have done things faster. I think I would have tried to do things, I just take bigger risks and just go all in because, I think that there's a lot of times, I find myself telling people, just take action. Like, what are you waiting for? Just take action. And I look back and I'm like, man, I should have taken bigger action. So I think I would have just done it faster. I would have just done it bigger. I mean, I remember reading a book, Grant Cardone, I don't know what book it is that he wrote. And he said, if my goal back in the day was to have 20,000 doors, I think he started out with a goal of having 500 doors. And he was like, if my goal was 20,000 doors, I would have had 10,000 doors by now, or whatever the numbers were. I think it's the same thing. I mean, I just started writing the goal of having 5,000 doors in my planner like a year ago. And to think about 5,000 doors doesn't even, it's in relationship to what people are accomplishing nowadays, it's not even that much. It's not even in comparison to a lot of things. So I think if you just think a lot bigger, and you can move a lot faster when you put your mind to it, and stop being stuck on what everybody else is doing and what people think is capable. Just put your mind into a whole different region and think a lot bigger.
Yeah,
that's what I would have done.
Advice, man. Go faster, think bigger, and a lot of times, what I found is that requires being around people that are already there, just being exposed to it. Because when you're not exposed to it, you're kind of like, well, what does that even mean, or what does that even feel like? I have no conceptual ability to even wrap my head around that. But when you're around somebody else, like being part of Joe's group that he's doing, the Syndicate, or being part of something bigger, some sort of mastermind or coaching, or just having a mentor, or just being at different groups with people that are levels and levels above where you're at, get exposed to it, and then you realize, man, if they can do it, I can do it. I've got some challenges. I've got some things I put in place, but it's doable. I think that's the big hurdle, is just convincing yourself it's doable by seeing other people doing it. It makes it much more of a reality. So that's a big piece of it, man. And I found, like, when I've set big goals and think, like, I have no clue how I'm going to get to this. Yeah. Normally, if I just socialize with people that are there, or I think that are there, it becomes much more of a reality. They're so willing to share what they've learned, so willing to share resources or affiliates or joint venture partners or people that can help me along my way because they've already been there. That's often the connecting piece, right?
Absolutely.
Big part of it. Big part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Joe, any kind of final parting shots, words of advice for our audience?
Ready, fire, aim, baby. Go after it. Take action. Don't hold back.
Fantastic, Joe. Love it, man. Well, thanks a lot for being part of our interview series. I appreciate it, guys. Look up Joe. Going to be in the show notes, links and stuff there. Find Joe on Facebook, Instagram, places like that. If you're in the greater Philadelphia area and you find this interesting, reach out to him, joint venture with him, become a private lender, go to his office. And if you're an operator, anywhere in the country, especially if you're doing multifamily and you're looking for some backing, really, somebody with a real firm backbone that can really help you achieve your goals, definitely connect with Joe. He can help you get you there. And Joe, thanks so much for jumping on today. I really appreciate it, my friend.
Appreciate it, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, you guys take care. We'll talk to you soon.